Good evening, garden fans. You join me on this beautiful spring evening just next to the broad beans because today, it'll be yesterday by the time you watch this, is a very exciting day for the soup garden. It is the day in which the first of our produce is going to make its way into our soup kitchen meals. We've got some beautiful broad beans, which I'm a bit envious of. I want to eat for dinner myself, and a few new potatoes that aren't quite ready really, but they found their way to the top of the pot, so we're putting those in as well. They're going to have a lovely spring vegetable pasta, which is really exciting. Lots more has been happening in the garden. It's a very busy time of year for vegetable growers, I am learning. So stay tuned for episode, I've lost count, of Garden Diaries. Well, garden fans, we begin this week's episode in the basil nursery, where there are millions of baby basil plants all waiting to grow up. These two pots are supposed to have parsley in, but I think the seed's a bit old and it hasn't really germinated, but that dill has, which is lovely. And then here we've got two pepper plants, which came from the annex. Were given to me. They're just been repotted into some old peanut butter tins, so they look pretty happy. And this is some sweet corn, which badly needs planting out, but I need to dig a hole first. But they're looking really lovely, actually. They're quite beautiful, the sweet corn. And then inside we've got Archie showing off as well. He's feeling very pleased with himself because he's got some kind of new branches and new leaves going on. I'm a bit worried about how big he's getting, actually. But anyway, more sweet corn there because some didn't work. That is the basil from the first lot, looking nice and big. More baby basil. And these are just some more courgettes and some more herbs. Now you may notice that the soil on the right hand side looks a bit disturbed in that egg box. And that is because we had a very unfortunate incident involving the unseen enemy came into the house when we were having dinner and dug up the seeds I'd sown not 10 minutes before. Really annoying. Here are some unseen enemies. There was some kind of like 4-way fight going on. I think it was over a girl, but it was quite funny the way that they were all kind of like squaring off to each other and looking like fluffing up their tails and looking butch. Anyway, that's an aside. Right, back up on the balcony. These are our lovely squashes. As you can see, these are really doing really well up here, actually. I think because it's quite warm and sheltered. They've really got really big. See, some of the leaves are huge, and I think they're even starting to think about maybe having flowers. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's a bean at the back, which hopefully should grow much taller than the squash, and that can go up the railings. I don't know whether they're flower buds or whether they're just more leaves. Anyway, who knows? So that's really exciting. That's they're called the Boston squash, and you can see their little sort of twirly things that they use to hold on. They're sort of climbing plants, sort of. And we've got 3 more bags of them here, all looking really good and all with the beans in as well. So that's all looking very promising. More baby basil. It's literally everywhere. But I like pesto, so that's good. And the soup kitchen like pesto, more importantly now they know what it is. Lettuce, that's that lettuce that came from the supermarket, still going strong, which is good news because we like lettuce. Okay, vicarage garden. At the back you can see some more beans, just 3 of them left over that are just dumped in there at the back, and you can also see the leeks. And then here is this beautiful chard. So this is the sort of rainbow chard, the kind of nice yellow one, and that beautiful red. And this one here is like a kind of peach coloured stem. It's really lovely. And this one here is the golden chard. It's the really rich colour. It's really beautiful. So looking forward to those being, well, we can start eating those quite soon, I think. Okay, so this is a new bed that I've made out of a pallet and out of the crates of fruit and vegetables that we got some donations from White Brothers came in, and I've repurposed them into salad beds. So we've got some rockets, some greens, some different herbs in there, some kale. The unseen enemy did manage to get in still, which is why there's netting on it. But I'm quite pleased with myself, if I do say so, for the recycling that's gone on. So hopefully that will all start to sprout quite soon. That's the lettuce looking great, and the potatoes. Yeah, potatoes there. Just kind of doing their potatoey thing. They're doing their potatoey thing in there. Little flour on them, which is a good sign, I think. And then over here, we've got some more lettuce and more potatoes. A little bit more of an update on those potatoes a bit later on in the video. But the lettuce is looking lovely. Strawberries. Alice is beating the unseen enemy. Can't get them anymore, can you? Ha! That one's been eaten now. It was nice. Just, quality control. Courgettes, these are the courgettes. These have been planted out. So we've got the Trieste White here. And these are some tomato plants with their own little mini greenhouses, because they're still quite small, even though it is quite warm out at the moment. Update on focus shortly as well. And then these ones are the Burpees Golden. Now this disgusting liquid is what comes out of the bottom of focus. And I know you're thinking that's disgusting, but it doesn't actually smell. Small mercies. But this is the liquid that sort of drains through the compost, and it's quite rich in nutrients. And what I do with it is it just gets chucked into the potatoes or anything else that likes to be fed. So that is very good use. Now this here is I emptied focus this week. I took the hatch away, and that's what was inside. This did smell, unfortunately, but so much really rich compost came out. I couldn't believe how much came out of there. So that's really good. So that's going to be used for the sweet corn bed when I finish that. Carrots, looking increasingly carrot-like, I think. The seedlings, these are doing all right as well. Cute little carrots. And then at the end there's supposed to be some parsnips, but they haven't really done anything. I don't know whether the unseen enemy got to them first, or whether, I don't know. I'll ask my advisor. Over here, there was a sadness here, because that's runner beans, but can you believe it? Some of them got stolen. Like, there were more runner beans on there, and this other sort of pyramid here, they all had runner beans at the bottom, and then they all disappeared. So that was a bit sad. Don't know why someone did that. We've got lots spare if they wanted some. And they took a pumpkin, which was here, but now it's got some nasturtiums. So that will be quite nice anyway. And I've replaced the runner beans now, so it's not really that much of a problem. Broad beans and peas. You can see the peas got massively tall, and then there was another sadness when it was really windy last week and we lost some of the tops, but not too much actually. And I think most of them, although they're bent, they're actually okay. But loads and loads and loads of pods, and look at all the broad beans. Can you see them in there? There's just so many. Well, there were so many broad beans. There aren't any more, for a good reason. But loads and loads of peas, loads and loads of broad beans, and they're just looking really, really lovely. I love the smell of broad beans a lot. It reminds me of my grandfather. We used to go and pick broad beans when the others were picking strawberries at Pick Your Own. We'd go for the broad beans. So these peas will stay on the pods, in their pods, right until they're really dry on the plant, because they're going to be dried to use in soup in the winter. Black fly. It's my favourite hobby, squashing them. Yeah. But yeah, look at all those flowers. Loads and loads and loads of flowers. So that is a good thing. Hopefully lots and lots of peas. And then over here, not much to report. Potatoes still looking like potatoes, which is a good sign. Leeks, the other lot of leeks out the front. These are all doing all right, actually. Seem to be growing quite well. The sorrel in them is quite nice, and some more nasturtiums that I've just put in amongst for something to do with them. But yeah, these are starting to look quite strong now, these leeks, which is good news because we like leeks quite a lot. So this is why there aren't very many broad beans anymore. It is for a good reason, because the time has come. Ding! First harvest. Very exciting. I must admit, I did eat the first couple, just again, quality control. But managed to pick really quite a lot as well, which is really great. And then the story about the small new potatoes. So they were starting to struggle in that planter because I just don't think we can get enough water in. So decided to turn one out just to see what was inside. And you can see that there were some that were just really tiny. But there were a few. I don't know what I'm chatting away about here. I don't know, probably not very interesting. But yeah, so there were a few sort of ones that we could use. Most of them were too small. They don't really like being mucked about, but put them back into the planter just to see if the others will develop a bit. But I think a lesson for next year is actually the planter doesn't really provide enough soil for them to grow in. So we'll probably use that planter for lettuce or something, or strawberries again next year, and see what happens then. So here we are, the harvest. Quite a few broad beans, not so many potatoes. And they were all used at the soup kitchen last night. We had a lovely sort of warm pesto potato salad with some spring vegetables, one of the highlights being some of those beautiful broad beans. And the soup garden is officially underway. We are producing vegetables, not very much, but it doesn't matter. Food miles for the broad beans last night were about 12 metres, which is really, really exciting. It's all going to keep hotting up over the next few weeks, literally, because the weather's quite warm, and also metaphorically, garden-wise, because things are starting to come in thick and fast now. So stay tuned for the next episode of Garden Diaries.